It's just me today coming at you. Anytime you see it's just me in the camera, it's usually going to be some kind of cooking tips or life hacks or organizational stuff, something along those lines. Today I'm going to talk about different things I do around my kitchen that just help keep things organized and help keep us from wasting food and, um, you know, just kind of show you how I've saved money and all that kind of stuff. So one of the things I like to do is make freezer meals. And when we have one paycheck that primarily goes towards bills, and then the next paycheck we have a little bit more room. And so that's the paycheck where we'll get the biggest bulk of our groceries. And that's a good time. If you have a similar financial system like that, then that's the time to stock up on meat and the more expensive things. And then, or if you get paid every week, I would say take your best paycheck of the month and use that to get your meats, and then use the other paychecks to get your sides. So any boxed stuff, noodles and stuff like that. I like to go to Dollar Tree and get these containers. They're kind of flimsy, but you get 3 packs, 3 containers with 3 lids for $1. And so whenever you have an extra, $5-6, just stop at Dollar Tree. They have different sizes. I like the big round ones, and I also like the little rectangular ones because these are good for if you want to make cakes or brownies or something like that ahead of time and just freeze it. That way you have it. Those are good things to have in the freezer because, oh, I promised I was going to make a cake for something. Boom, you have one. All you have to do is thaw it out a day ahead of time and icing it. That's it. And it takes a lot less time. And so, but I also like them because they do have the shiny side on the one side, but on the other side, it's just plain white, and that's where I write what it is that's in the container, the date that I'm putting it in the freezer, so I know how long it's been in there. And if it's a meal, let's say it's pulled pork, then I'll write a cooking temperature and about how long my husband should keep it in the oven, because I usually make freezer meals for the nights that I have to work. Since I'm the cook of the family, he's really good about heating stuff up in the oven. So these freezer meals help him too, and I'm sure he can testify to that. But yep, I just write on this side, and then this is a side that touches the product. And I always spray the inside of the pan out first, whether it's baking something or just putting your leftovers in there. Ham and green beans is another thing you can freeze. Even stuff like spaghetti, as long as you have enough sauce and you add just a little bit of water to it for that, so it doesn't get sticky and gummy and pasty when you heat it up. I usually set my oven temps to 375 for about 45 minutes because that should reheat just about anything. So that's my tip on freezer meals. Another thing is I don't know if you like to go camping, but we do. This is something I started doing last year, and I'm going to continue to do this year and on through the years. Get these little snack bag sizes. You can get off-brand. They work just fine. And put all your herbs and spices in them. So I have dill here. Dill is one of my favorite herbs that I like to cook with, and it takes up less space to have a bunch of little baggies that it does to bring. These are only part of I have a lot more. Whole cupboard full of, different cooking seasonings and stuff. So rather than take up a whole box full of seasonings, just put, you're only going to be there a few days, just put some in a snack size bag, and it takes up a lot less room. Okay, so another thing I wanted to show you is some of the things I do in my freezer. Obviously I have a lot of stuff in my freezer right now. If you're trying to be healthy but you still have a sweet tooth, stock up on yogurt and freeze it. And then I just take a spoon and kind of scrape a little at a time, and it's really sweet and yummy and good for you. I got a 24 pack at Grocery Outlet for I think $4.99 or something like that. So keep your eyes peeled when you go there for the big yogurts, because even if you're not gonna eat them as yogurt by the sell-by date, you can freeze them and eat them as frozen yogurt, and they're pretty yummy. Another thing is, anytime I have any extra bread ends, stick them in the freezer. When I have probably about 10 or more baggies of those in the freezer, then I'll thaw them out in one day and pull them apart, and you can make homemade stuffing, you can make a breakfast casserole, you can make French toast casserole. It depends on the flavors of the breads that you end up freezing. So none of us like to eat the bread ends for some reason. I don't know, we're weird. But I'm sure we're not the only people out there. So instead of wasting them, I just freeze them, and then when I need some to make, you know, whatever it is we want to make, if I have like sweeter breads, like sometimes I'll get cinnamon swirl bread or something like that. If that's in there, then I'll make French toast casserole out of it. But if I have more savory breads, like a garlic bread or something like that, then I'll probably make stuffing balls out of it, and it's really good. Another thing I like to save is I usually do a lot of crock pot meals, and I like to put chicken, just boneless, skinless chicken breasts in the crock pot all day on low with all my seasonings and stuff in it, and I'll use that chicken for either chicken salad sandwiches or, you know, homemade chicken soup, stuff like that. You can use, there's a lot of uses you can use for that, and I might do a whole video on nothing but all my chicken recipes one day. But get a strainer, like a big size strainer, and a medium sized bowl, and then you can strain out the juice, and there you go. You have your own homemade chicken broth. So, and you can use that for gravies, for soups, for, you know, anything that requires chicken broth. I like to put chicken broth in my homemade stuffing, so I'll thaw maybe not this size bag, but a smaller bag or container of it, and use it for the gravy and for the stuffing. And it ends up working really well. Okay, so here's one example of a freezer meal that I have. I just labeled it barbecue pulled chicken, put the date on it, I put it in the 1st of July, and then I have 350 for 45 minutes. You can kind of tweak it, test it out yourself. Everybody's oven's different too. Your oven might heat up quicker than mine or slower than mine. So, you know, you kind of have to start it out at 45 minutes. It might take up to an hour. It might take an hour and 10 minutes. Just depends on your oven times, but it's still going to be a nice, good meal that's only going to take you an hour versus all day cooking. So those are just some hacks, some tips I have, and hopefully they helped you out. And thanks for watching, and we'll check you out on our next adventure. Have a great day.